Howdy, Cowboy Gamer here, and today I wanted to talk to you about something that's very near and dear, something I've talked, well, not really much about, but something I love a lot: Nintendo 64 games. Now you might be asking yourself, why do we even care about Nintendo 64 games? We're in the new generation. We have our Wii U's, we have our 3DS's and new 3DS's. But the fact of the matter is, people still care about the old consoles. The old franchises and the old IPs are still kicking. People still love them. And Nintendo understands that a lot of us grew up in an older generation where we started out with Nintendos, Super Nintendos, 64s. And those gamers are a lot of gamers that are still putting a lot of money into the video gaming business and buying games. For that reason, you see Nintendo putting out Nintendo 64 and other types of games, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy, on their virtual consoles, on their 3DS, on their Wii, on their Wii U, to try and encourage people to buy these games. But mostly, I want to focus a lot on 64 games today. Lately, or my childhood started off, I started with an NES. My first console we owned was a Super Nintendo, but the console I put all my time and effort into was the 64. Mario 64 changed the way gaming did business and just changed video gaming people's perspectives in general. And then we had games like Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, and Majora's Mask, which are super great games. Star Fox 64, Paper Mario, Mario Kart 64, Mario Golf, 1080 snowboarding, and I can go on, but some of those, when I say those names, you remember, and you remember the great times you had playing them. And we still remember them. Nintendo has released tons of games on the Wii Virtual Console, and now on the Wii U Virtual Console, they've released Paper Mario, Super Mario 64, and one that has not been released ever before was Donkey Kong 64. And on the 3DS, they've released Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, and Star Fox 64. Now, with these games, the fact that they're actually making retail copies and downloadable copies for your 3DS means that they are still interested in putting out more games, more old remastered games on this new platform because people care about it, people have love for this game. So my thoughts are, what is going to be next? The 3DS is selling really well, and with the new C-Stick, with the new processor, I mean, the new 3DS as well as the old 3DS can easily handle 64 games. And games that people love in general. Games that can see a resurgence in popularity. Games that people may not have remembered in the beginning or may not have sold too well on 64, but now have a chance to be remastered and sold again. And like Majora's Mask, many people didn't remember or didn't play that game. They remember Ocarina of Time, they saw Majora's Mask, but they just didn't get into it very far. Remastering it, Nintendo can change the game a little bit, make it a little better, and make it into a game that people really do care about. Now, looking through the list of all of the N64 games published by different groups, Nintendo, I've compiled a bit of a list of games that I think might be interesting to come out or might be useful on either the Wii U with the touchpad or 3DS. They're very similar, so they can have interesting characteristics. But one game I think would be great, but only as a virtual console download, would be Pokemon Snap. Using the Wii U gamepad as the camera and actually turning it around is really what the tablet and what the 3DS really can do, making the person feel like they're there holding a camera in their hands. I don't think this game needs to have a retail listing. Just a download would be perfect. It needs to be cheap because people aren't going to put $40 into this game to buy a brand new copy, because it is a Pokemon franchise, but it wasn't a major one. Half the love came out of just taking the pictures and getting stickers printed off at Walmart back in the day, which is not going to be an option anymore. But throwing that in as a virtual console on Wii U definitely would be something that would be kind of cool, that might show people, hey, 64 games are still something that can have love and people will buy these again. Couple interesting things with Wii U Virtual Console. The fact that they already had Paper Mario on the Wii and Super Mario 64 on the Wii, and you could get to that menu, but these games are still super popular, and so they're gonna make it easier in whatever way. But Nintendo will try new games that they haven't tried. But since 2 of the 3 games have already been done, let's take a look at the Wii Virtual Console games. Now, 3 of these games that are already released on the 3DS, The 2 Legends of Zelda and Star Fox 64, already came out on Wii Virtual Console. Nintendo probably looked at the sales numbers of how many people bought these and decided, hey, this sold really well, maybe we need to remake this game. Now, Pokemon Snap was in this listing on the Wii Virtual Console, but a couple that I think might also look interesting are 1080 snowboarding. Most people, when they got their 64, that was the game they owned. And to be honest, it could use with an uplift, and just remembering some of those fun moves that we used to do might bring it back. Again, it might just be worth it on Virtual Console, not maybe getting a full retail copy on 3DS, but another game nonetheless. One that I really think could go well as any Virtual Console or retail 3DS copies would be Ogre Battle 64. People care about getting a lot of bang for their buck, getting a large game, an RPG, something nice. And Ogre Battle 64 had lots of time that you could spend playing through that. A good story, lots of replay value, lots of different mini small things that you wouldn't really realize until maybe your 3rd or 4th playthrough. Not to say that the first playthrough didn't have plenty of time, but many people just kept going back to that game. That game could easily see a great remaster, get released on 3DS, get released on the Wii U Virtual Console, but the key information is how well did it sell on the Wii Virtual Console? Probably. But again, even if it didn't sell super well, if there's enough interest, I'm sure Nintendo would bring it back if there was enough people that could spend the money. Another one that's really interesting me is F-Zero X. This is another game that would work really great on the Wii U Virtual Console, as well as getting remade and retailed on the 3DS. Nintendo loves Mario Kart 8. They have shown it considerable love, DLC, everything. And they've thrown in 2 F-Zero homages of tracks to remind people what they used to play and the fun they used to have. Now, F-Zero is a super hard game. You can die racing and not be able to finish the course. That note, Mario Kart 8 just got their 200cc, so Nintendo is slowly and gradually introducing people again to F-Zero and speeding up the game to make it more like F-Zero. Nintendo always telegraphs their things. They do all these little tidbits throughout the year that if you look back, they're like, oh yeah, of course, they were obviously going to do that. But individually, people usually don't see it. But noticing all of these little F-Zero tweaks, I could totally see Nintendo saying at E3, hey, we're going to bring back F-Zero, or we're going to make a brand new F-Zero game on Wii U or 3DS. Now, Wii U is a little harder to say. Maybe not a brand new game since Mario Kart 8 is still kicking and still only in its first year or a little after that. It's still getting DLC, or it just got its final DLC, so there is a resurgence there. But it could easily get onto the Virtual Console. Now, Mario Kart 7 came out on 3DS a lot longer ago, which means Nintendo could still be gearing up for another racing game on the 3DS, and a great one would be F-Zero. Now, there are some other games that were on the Wii Virtual Console, Wave Racer, Sin Punishment, Pokemon Puzzle League, Cruisin' USA, and some other IPs that lately Nintendo's been putting in their games. Mario Golf, Kirby, Yoshi's Story, Mario Party, which just got released on Wii U recently, Bomberman Hero. So some of these, since they're already getting new variations on the Wii U or 3DS, I don't know if Nintendo is exactly going to want to put money into making another retail game. But again, Mario Tennis hasn't seen much in that other than like Wii Sports and stuff like that. So again, it's another good one variation for a Virtual Console game that Nintendo knows they might not get a ton of buys off of it, but they already have it sitting there. They just have to get it built into the Virtual Console system and release it to the public. Now, they only released 3 in April, and I highly doubt they're going to put out another 3 this month unless it's a surprise. These take a little bit of time, but easily it's a lot easier to port over games onto this Virtual Console within a month or 2 time, and it doesn't take that many people, unlike creating a brand new game like Majora's Mask. Now, I'm loving my 3 games I bought on 3DS, Ocarina, Majora's, and on Star Fox 64. So I really hope that Nintendo continues to release a game on the 3DS. And I've played these once on 64, I'm playing them again on my 3DS, but I'm still enjoying them, and I'm going farther into the games than I did before, even trying to beat the games for once and for all, unlike some of my first playthroughs on 64. So I'm really thinking Nintendo needs to keep up with this and needs to continue and give people the games they want to see. But my question before I end is, what games would you like to see? What Nintendo 64 games do you want to see released on the 3DS or the Wii U Virtual Console? And it doesn't have to be relegated to Nintendo, published and stuff. Go nuts. If you want to bring up Banjo-Kazooie, even though Nintendo doesn't own the rights, go nuts with it. But whatever your desires say, just throw it out there. I want to see, because I'm curious as to what you guys would really like to see. As always, Cowboy Gamer, sign off.